I concentrated on making all the drinks like art. So pretty you don't want to drink it.
Just want to look at it.
Just want to look at it.
Admire it. Take pictures.
It's the same way as the food. We want food just like.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Reggie Kimball, aka Stickman #1. You know what time it is again, man? I'm here at the Red Phone booth in downtown Atlanta. I love this place, first of all, and I couldn't wait to come down here and kick it with my man sitting right here to my left, my man Jason Furr. What's up, Jason?
How are we doing today?
You doing all right, bro?
How are we doing, guys?
So, hey, just in case you didn't know, this man is a serious mixologist, and serious just bourbon head, spirits head. What should I call you? What should I call you, Jason? I don't even know what to call you.
Bob Rudy coined the term intoxicologist.
Damn it. Intoxicologist.
That's Bob Rudy's term. Okay. I use it here because we can kind of do that.
Okay.
But I, in all the seriousness, I don't take it very serious. Okay. I think that's the key. I've been down in Atlanta and I've been to other bars, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm serious. I'm bartender." And I'm just like, it's not that serious. We're just slinging booze, man. And people talk about art.
You slinging it the right way, though.
Yeah, we're just slinging. I just want to make an experience. If you give someone an experience, that's all that matters.
Okay.
All right. Whether you made the best, I hate to say it, vodka tonic you've ever made someone, but the way you present it. If you make an experience,
they say that about food, right?
Hey,
presentation is everything.
Yeah. If you present it in the right way, it doesn't matter what you make them.
Okay. All right. So tell everybody, what do you do here at the Red Phone booth? For those who haven't been to downtown Atlanta, if you haven't been, you got to come to this location, man. And I had to come here and kick it with my man. But what do you do here, man?
So I am one of the bartenders here.
Okay.
I've been down here since 2019. Right, I moved here right before pandemic happened.
And he's kind of downplaying that whole "I'm just one of the bartenders here." Keep going. He's downplaying that, y'all. But keep going. I'm gonna let you get away with that right now.
Right. Okay. But I was looking for a spot to set up in Atlanta. I didn't have the code to get in here. I had Googled private bars in Atlanta, and Red Phone booth popped up with a couple other choice bars that were more adult themed. But
and nothing wrong with
nothing wrong with that.
Strippers are people too. Yeah, we say that all the time on the Stickman podcast.
And then it's like, we gotta put these girls through school.
That's right. Thank you. Exactly. Somebody's got to do it.
That's right. She's working on a doctorate. So what happened was I didn't have the code to get in. I was already dressed up. I had already had a couple of bar interviews. I blocked out a whole bunch of bar interviews and came down here. I was working for Hilton at the time in Lexington, Kentucky. I got a room at Hilton and I just started hitting the private bars. And I came to this one, and the doorman, Scotty, I just went up to him and said, "Hey, I'm Jason. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, and I know bourbon. May I talk to your bar manager?"
And that's it.
And he went and he got a lady by the name of Ellie Russo, and Ellie was such a sweetheart, and she let me in. She came and she sat me in front of Bob Rudy, which is a legendary bartender in Atlanta. I don't know any of the past or history or anything like that of the craft cocktailing scene in Atlanta. I didn't know. I wanted to be respectful, but I didn't know, and I wasn't trying to step on any toes. But when someone came up, "Oh, this guy is this and this and this," well, I'm like, cool. I don't have that background. But they came in, and then Ellie texted me the next day. He goes, "When can you start?" I didn't think it was gonna be that easy. I was like, "How did I tiptoe in this situation?" And I worked on one of the first days. I worked with Bob, and Bob and I hit it off. We had some of the same interests, and he retired in the October of 2019. He retired, and I kind of was the torch was passed. Okay. In a way, to me, in this little corner spot.
So it's been a couple of years now.
It's Well, I mean, I don't count 2020.
That shit doesn't count.
You can't.
Let's just erase that shit from my memory.
I was like, man, you just can't count on the virus, man. But
nobody saw that coming.
No one saw it coming. But that was the thing, is that we just we closed down for just a short amount of time. We closed down a day or two after St. Patty's Day in 2020. Reopened in June.
So okay.
Yeah, I mean we've
been
been
about a good 3 months you were down, huh?
Yeah, we were down a couple. We were down a couple months.
But even still, even when you come back, you're not back, right? It's still things weren't the same in 2020 at all. Even when people started to reopen.
No,
so
we we wanted to make everybody comfortable when we came back, and we have all these air purification units in this lounge, and
that helps.
Yeah, and shout out to our owners, Steve DeHaan and Greg Grant, and they kept us working during the pandemic when a lot of people weren't working. I didn't. I was very, very, very grateful to be working during that time. So
okay,
but yeah, but I tell you what, when they brought me in, I hadn't met Greg, I had not met Steve, and
I'm still waiting to meet him. By the way,
are you really?
I'm still waiting to meet him. We got to make that happen.
I
got to get them on the podcast,
right,
and hang out with us.
Especially Greg. I mean, they're both good for some stories too. Both good for some stories. But it's funny because when I first met them, the first thing that happened, they brought me over for a bourbon tasting. They said right before I was getting ready.
Did they know your skills?
Yeah, well,
and this man has skills, folks. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But did they know your skills with bourbon yet? I'm pretty sure had heard tale, but I don't know if they were really sold on it. But they were skeptical,
right? Well, the first day I worked here, I was working with another bartender, and he wanted me to clean all the bottles in the back. Clean all. He goes, "Oh, you're gonna be wiping out." Like I was like a rook. Yeah. Like this is my first day here, but it ain't my first day. Yeah, right. So I mean, as I was cleaning bottles, people were like, "Hey, can you tell me about that?" I said, "Well, yeah, this is this, and this is from this company, and this is this, and this is what it's going to taste like, and this is what." And then all of a sudden, I'd sold $300 in bourbon, and I handed him the ticket, and I said, "Hey, you remember that when you tipped me out?" Because I was training. You don't get paid for that. I mean, you get paid by the hour. You can tip. I said, "Yeah, you remember that when I get tipped out?" That was the only training day I had.
What?
Yeah, so I came back in with, and I was working with Bob Rudy, and he went to the ownership after that shift. He goes, "This guy's not training as a bartender. He's
the man.
He's a good guy." And they put me in the tip jar for that night, and I only had one training night.
That's all you needed. You got the natural talent, man. Call you the natural. So hey, before we get into talk some more, man, I got to tell you, this is all about puffing. Yeah. Sipping. And we already started our chatting. So what we puffing on today? I know you gave me a great stick so far. This is the Red Leaf.
Yeah, that's a Red Leaf stick. That's a buddy of mine who's actually a member of this bar. Good story about him too. I want to tell that story, but that right there is that's his Churchill. That's the first Churchill he's made. He gave me, and he came in the other day. He said, "Man, I want you to have this." And I had another bartender that works here named Al. Al loves cigars too. Good dude, good bartender. And I said, "Al, I want you to have one." I said, "Can my buddy Al have one?" Yeah. So we got almost the first two that he had made. So that's the other one. I've had many of his cigars. I actually have not had that one yet. You're having it before I am.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that, man. And what are you puffing on?
This is a Robusto from Nica Habana from Ybor City. I went to Ybor City for the first time.
My hometown. and just in case you didn't hear it on another podcast, the home of the Super Bowl champs. We'll go back. We're going to keep going. We'll talk.
I'm not saying anything, Deflategate. I'm not saying anything. I mean, nothing subliminal, Deflategate. I'm not saying anything.
That was a long time ago.
I know, it was a long time ago. Man. It's like, yeah. Speaking of doing a podcast in your hometown, we'll have to take this up to the bourbon country to do this.
Hell yeah,
going to Kentucky.
Yeah, man. Take me to some stills or something. Man. Some distilleries, man. And what are we sipping on?
Well, I want to touch back on the cigar.
We're gonna come back to that. Okay.
So we'll come back to that. Okay. So the cigar, the gentleman that makes that, his name is Ben Estel, and Ben, great dude. He came in one day with his cousin and walked through the wrong door. And I just kind of stopped him and said, "Hey guys, it was a Sunday, weren't very busy." And I said, that's not really the way we come in. I said, but let's give you the whole experience. I want him to come through the phone booth and ooh and ah. And his cousin was like, well, I really want a steak. I'm like, man, I don't have steaks here. But here's what we can do. I sent him down to a steakhouse that was on the corner. I gave him the number, gave him my card with the number on it. I said, well, I'll go down and have a steak, do that. Why don't you come back in, have a drink with me? We'll smoke a cigar. And I didn't know anything about this cat. He came back. They came back about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, man, and sat down in front of me at the bar. Had this. I've been talking about a tackle box. You know, big tackle box full of cigars. I'm like, this guy right here, man, is serious, dude.
Wow.
And he said,
that's a real stick.
He goes, I'm Red Leaf Cigar. I'm been making these cigars. That was it. I'm like, man, that's cool. But I got him in. He became a member, and we've been kicking it ever since, man. He's given me some of the. I have smoked everybody's cigars, and he's given me the finest cigars. And I know.
Where does he roll his cigars out of? You know?
His cigars are rolled Dominican Republic.
Ah, okay.
But all the filler and all it's Cuban seed.
Cuban seed, okay. All
yeah. Right. But like I said, I don't know what the tasting notes on that. And when you smell it, it smells like it's infused with something.
It does. That's why I asked you that.
But it's not.
It's not, folks. It's just aged very well.
It's aged very well. That one's aged 7 years. That one's aged 7 years. But it was, like I said, every stick, every stick I've had, I smoked one. He made a barber pole stick. And he's like, it's the first one I've ever made, man. And I smoked it. I actually took it to burn and smoked it. Not that I shouldn't know that, but
you know what? I bring my own sticks to lounges all the time. But what I always also like to do, I tell people all the time, I'll buy a stick or two.
A stick.
You know, I may bring something
respect.
that I really want to smoke that day. And the lounge owners don't really mind that, but they also want to know that while you're here, hey, pick up one of mine too while you're at it, right?
I want to try everybody. If I go to a cigar lounge, and I'm going to have a. If I go to the cigar lounge and I am going to have a smoke, I will usually buy one of their house sticks. I want to know what they're putting out.
That's what I always ask people what their house stick is. Not all of them have one, but when they do, I like to try it. You're right.
Our house stick here is pretty good.
We have an age. I got to try the house stick.
We have a 6 year aged Maduro here that's really good. I smoke if I'm gonna, like I don't smoke every day. Maybe I'm in a cigar lounge all the time. I work so much that I just try not to smoke every day.
Me too. I just don't do it every day. Right.
So I have maybe one every couple weeks.
Okay. All right.
But I had to buy a humidor. I had so many guests that were so kind. They were giving me cigars. So I was
you're in a lounge, so they kind of like, hey, let's hook this man up.
So I was like, okay, well I have, $300 a cigar here. I better go pick up an $80 humidor. So go over and buy a humidor and just roll like that, Okay, all
right.
But what we're sipping on today.
Yeah. So you broke out something new on me today, man. What is this? Rock Castle? Tell people about what the hell is this, man?
All right, Rock Castle is a distillery in Lexington, Kentucky. It's called Barrel.
Here a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and get that water out of the way.
See everybody, check this out.
Rock Castle is a distillery in Lexington, Kentucky. It's made by Barrel House Distilling. Pete's one of the main guys there. We give him a shout out. But every time I come to town, I give them a yell, and they usually do small batches. This is all small batch bourbon. 2 years, but for 2 years, it's aged in small barrels. You can see the color. It's fantastic on it.
Beautiful amber color, right? Dark amber.
Yeah. There's no additives. You can't have any additives in a beer bourbon. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
And you happen to be from Kentucky.
And I happen to be from Kentucky. I've known these guys for a little while. But this is, they do very small batches. This is actually the rest of my batch 9. It's 745 bottles. I have 2 bottles of it. This is bottle 181. I think I have 185 as well.
So you got to know people to get a little Rock Castle.
Yeah, you got to know when to be there because this is before this batch came out, which I have a couple other ones. They didn't make over 500 bottles per batch. Okay. So you really had to. Like when they released it, you had to be down there, or it was gone. Yeah. Limit one per customer.
Yeah, they don't want anybody hoarding it, trying to resell them and all that.
Resell it. Yeah. But Yeah, it's a fantastic bourbon.
Well, it's my first time having it, so.
Well, I mean, not many people. Okay, so Forbes magazine called it top 5 bourbons not shipped out of the state.
Top 5.
Top 5.
And we're talking about Kentucky, y'all.
Talking about Kentucky, and it's a. Well, I tell people when people ask me what my favorite bourbon is, not to be, because I bought this bottle from. This is one of my favorite bourbons ever, but you can't get it. Now, when people talk about favorite bourbons, I ask them, hey, you mean bourbons you can get, like go into the store and buy, or the quote unquote unicorn bourbons? I don't chase bourbon.
The bourbon chases you because you're the man.
Well, I mean,
I mean that's what I heard.
I don't chase bourbon in 2 ways. One, I don't chase it with Coca-Cola.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Right? And 2, I don't chase after bottles I don't have.
Okay.
I don't buy on the secondary market.
I would not. People
No.
hit me up all the time trying to get me to that. That's ridiculous. Why would I do that?
Have you had Pappy Van Winkle? Yes, I have. I remember the first time I had Pappy Van Winkle, 23. I was appalled that I had to pay $23 for a 2-ounce pour. This pour right here, let's see it right there. This pour right here was $23 in 2008. Now that pour, $250, $300.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
See, I don't got it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to keep moving, trying to get me.
Oh yeah, I mean, I tell you, if your car, I mean, there's bottles on our shelves I won't even pull out of the cabinet unless your car didn't make a noise when it hits the table. If it makes a metallic noise, we'll pull that
You'll
bottle.
pull out the bottle. There you go. Yeah.
So, but this bourbon right here, it's I think it retails around $80, $85. That's I mean there's only been 2 bottles.
Oops.
So there's only been 2 bottles that I've ever paid over $100 for retail. But I've never bought anything on the secondary market. I bought one of the bottles because I really liked the bourbon. I had it in my bar at Hilton. It was called Collaboration. It was a collaboration between Butchertown that makes brandy, Copper and Kings, and with Bardstown, which is Willett Distilling. I'm pretty sure it's Willett, but I think it was all sourced from MGP in Indiana. But they, their master distillers did it, so I kind of trust that. So you got a nice pour there. That pour right there is $30. Actually, I'm sorry, that pour right there would be $40.
So we do reviews, whiskey reviews on the Stickman podcast. Me and Stickman Simp, who couldn't make it today, but we like to laugh at ourselves because we love whiskey, but we don't consider ourselves experts.
Don't have to.
Stretch of the meaning.
Don't have to.
I know what tastes good, but I'm not the guy that can sit back and tell you, I'm tasting this, I'm tasting that. Are you that guy?
Okay, all right. Yes, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because your palate's different from my palate. You're going to taste different things than I taste. One of my favorites is hearing the suggestive selling of. I've been on bourbon distillery tours since I was 16, and hearing now it's really commercialized. The bourbon industry is the bubble's getting thinner. It's stretching. There's over 500 bourbon labels, but there's only 14 major distilleries. I mean, there's a lot of craft distilleries doing like this, but these people aren't. I mean, you're not going to find this in California. You're not going to find this in whatever.
Well, hell, with the limited production, it's not going to make it out of Kentucky.
It's not going to make it past. It's not going to make it past my liver.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to bottle or two. It's not going to make it out of Kentucky. It does. The people drive down from Michigan, and people know about it. But when I do, I can taste it, and I can tell you what the makeup is and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. If I tell you all that, then it's just flexing. If I can enjoy your bourbon, it doesn't matter. And just like you said, if it tastes good, if it's good, it's good.
It's good. It's good. I know what bad tastes like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My taste buds tell me right away when something's bad.
When something's bad, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer that good is good. Some of the best bottles of booze I've ever had were $14.
Okay. All right. So it's funny you say that. I was telling you that we did a Irish whiskey podcast, and I was amazed at some of the low price points and the taste. So I used to consider myself a little bit of a snob based on price. And that's and I've been, man. But now I'm embarrassed to even admit it sometimes that I used to say, oh, well, if it's only $20, it must not be that good.
Right.
That's bullshit.
I know
that's
man.
bullshit now. That is total bullshit.
I told this guy the other day, okay, so place like Buffalo Trace, they make Blantons, they make Pappies, they make all this stuff. And we haven't touched back on Pappies is that, like I said, the first time I had Pappy Van Winkle, it was, I mean, I bought it for $23, 23-year-old, I bought it for $23 for a 2-ounce pour. That shot now would be $250, $300. I think we sell an ounce here for right around $200.
Okay.
1 ounce.
Okay.
Half that amount. My thing is, I like to get people a nice drink and not bust their piggy bank. And it's all got to follow the same rules to be bourbon.
Okay.
It's got to be, for Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, it's got to be aged 2 years, it's got to be over 51% corn, yada, yada, yada. I've been on so many bourbon tours and I've done so many bourbon tastings and stuff like that. We were just talking about how you can taste and, do you taste the nutmeg? I love that one. That's one of my favorites. Hey, do you taste the nutmeg?
Yeah.
Do you taste the nutmeg?
Yeah.
Like, why? Because they dump all that nutmeg in the barrel? I mean, what happens is like, I poured this probably, 20 minutes before we started to let it get some air in it.
Open it up.
Open it up. I like drinking mine out of rocks glasses. I like my nose to be in there. I like air to get to it. I'm not a fan of...
You educated me on the right way to breathe, to nose it.
Yeah.
I've always nosed it without the mouth open.
Yeah, I put my nose right in it, open my mouth, breathe in through my nose, and it hits all the way back here, and because your taste buds run all the way back down.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
And it's different hit. It's different than what you would do with wine or anything like that.
All right.
They does not like that down here.
It's not like that here.
It's in Kentucky, man. Everybody sells booze, man.
Yeah, it's almost like you better not open a business without selling booze.
Right, man. I have a wine. This is McDonald's. Okay, I'll have a McWine.
Exactly. Thank you. I need to go to that McDonald's. So, man, first off, this shit is great, man. Rock Castle, man. Shout out to you guys, man, in Lexington, man. Or is it, they are in Lexington.
Yeah, they are in Lexington. Manchester Street.
Manchester Street, dude.
Yeah.
Rock
in fact,
Castle
right
Bourbon,
down,
man.
right down the street, right in the same complex of the first bar I started in.
Okay, all right. So, for those that don't know, man, when we got introduced, one of the first things you said is, man, you were like messing with some folks who were drinking, I think they were drinking like some honey whiskey or some shit like that. And you're like, that shit won't be in my bar.
Shit wouldn't be in my bar, wouldn't be in my glass, it wouldn't even be in my view, man.
Yeah. So for some, and I think they were probably novice bourbon people. They don't know any better, probably, I'm assuming.
Or don't care. It's fine.
Don't care.
Too,
and maybe they don't care. And guess what? I tell people at the end of the day, smoke what you like, drink what you like, right? Because I'm not you. But if somebody is starting in bourbon right now and just getting started and they weren't big bourbon drinkers and you said they came to you and said, man, Jason, educate me a little bit. What would they say? What would you tell them rather?
Man, that's such an odd question. Not odd question, but because it's different from everybody's like, I drink gin.
Like if you had to introduce somebody at the bar right now and said, man, I want to try a bourbon, what would you give them?
Maker's 46.
Maker's 46? That would be a great introductory bourbon?
Great.
Okay.
Because
Maker's 46, y'all. Okay.
Okay. So here's Maker's Mark and Maker's 46. And it's not because, I know it kind of coincides with the story that I just told you about my father taking me to Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's mostly because the mash bill of Maker's Mark is very palate pleasing because it's made with wheat. If it's made with wheat, more than likely it's going to be kind of sweet. If it's made with a rye, you're going to have more pepper. Like this is a wheated mash bill. So it's got corn, it's got barley, it's got wheat as your finishing grain. Maker's 46 is, in my opinion, perfect bourbon.
Maker's 46.
I think so because it's in my opinion, and the reason why because it makes really good cocktails. It makes really good cocktails. It's really good neat. It's really good on a rock.
So it's versatile.
It's very versatile.
You can just use it however you want.
It's over 90 proof, which meets my criteria.
Okay, all right. That's one of your baselines, right?
Oh, I don't drink anything under 90. Dude, I mean, because I like tasting my bourbon.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, my sweet spot with bourbon is anywhere from, I like 90 proof to 115-ish. Anything higher than that, it's like wings. You know, you ever had wing sauce? it's got a nice amount of heat, but it's also got a taste and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people are like,
I don't want it when it's just heat, right?
Oh yeah, if it's just heat, I don't eat.
It just makes your mouth numb. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point, man? Just, I mean, the thing is that once you get over, and there are certain bourbons that I like that are really high heat too. But if I'm just sipping and we're just having a cigar, I want to taste my cigar. I want to taste my bourbon. And right in that proof wise is going to be a really good sweet spot. And I would always start off with a lower proof for newer drinkers. Because if someone came to me and said, well, I drink scotch, well, I probably wouldn't go to Maker's 46. I'd probably go something that has a more of a rye.
More of a rye kind of introduction.
Right. If they don't drink, but Maker's 46 is pretty much my go-to when it goes to that.
And you're going to do your cocktails with that. So what cocktail would you make them? Because I know you can mix it up. You were also telling those folks, come to the Red Phone Booth and I'll make you a real drink.
Oh, I tell them, yeah, I said, you come to the Red Phone Booth and we'll hook it up. Man, anything, old fashioned, Manhattan, any of those drinks.
The traditional things.
Yeah.
But you put your own spin on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do a little, it's one of those things where you can't, I don't want to be like any other slapdick out there. I don't want to be that guy,
Yeah. Anybody could throw the ingredients together, but
right.
do it right.
Well, my thing is just like anything else. I had a really good bar manager when I worked for Hilton. His name was Adam McCraith. Adam's a great bartender too. He's a great craft cocktailer. Okay. And he showed me some basic stuff, and I just kind of ran with it. It wasn't like I learned. I don't know about Atlanta, but I've met several bartenders who come and they sit at this bar and they want to see what I do. They want to try to get the ticks and trips.
They watching the master.
I don't know about the master, man.
The intoxicologist. They're learning from the intoxicologist.
But that's such to me, it's just, I appreciate that. And and also there's a lot of people I find that will mimic that, they will, which is, what they say is imitation is flattery.
That's true. It is a great form of flattery. Yeah.
And, but when I have industry people coming in and trying to learn on how I do certain things, or they, like my old fashions, I love that. But I would never be that way if I had strictly learned under another bartender, or just like, because I wouldn't known what there's a lot of trial and error, man. I made a lot of bad drinks in the kitchen.
Of course.
Had to.
Of course. Yeah. I know I've made my share of bad ones at home.
Dude. Did they
I'm just going to pour this one out.
Yeah, no. And you poured it out? You poured the booze?
Dude, when it's real bad.
Okay, I got you.
I fucked up some cocktails in the past. And I was like, let me just pour this shit out. I had nobody else around that I could pawn it off.
Oh, yeah. It was like, hey, man, give this a shot. Yeah, try that, man. I want your honest opinion.
That's right.
Nobody wants their honest opinion.
No, not really, yeah.
Yeah. No one wants their honest opinion. No one. That's another thing that hurts a lot of people in this industry, because everybody's afraid to tell them that their drink's not good. I remember, I won't say the place I went. I don't order cocktails. I order bourbon on a rock. Rye.
That's the safest thing to do especially if you're a true bourbon person like yourself. Right?
Because you get one or two things. You get someone is either not sweet enough or it's too sweet, and all you did was ruin my booze.
That's right.
Because this is perfect. This right here.
This is perfect. This.
Yeah, you don't
mess with.
You can either, if you can compliment it, fine. If you can't, leave me be.
I'm good, just as
I'm good, just as is.
Yep.
So my point on that was I went to a lounge.
Keep going.
I said I went to a restaurant. And I said, "Are there any cocktails you're known for?" And the guy said, "Oh, our old fashioned." I'm like, "Okay, cool," because I do old fashions. I happen to be a bartender. Because everybody comes up to my bar and says, "I'm a bartender too." I'm like, "Cool," because I don't want to get into it. I don't care. I don't go to other people's bars. It's not a contest. I don't do cocktail competitions either, because I don't give a damn about what 3 people think of my cocktail. What I care about is these people around the bar who pay my bills. Those are the only people I care about liking my cocktail.
Okay.
I don't care if you have a clipboard and you're checking shit off. I don't care. I really don't, because the 3 people who are like I said, I think I get held in a higher regard because I work here, and that's true.
It's a great place,
dude. I tell you what, man. I had a group of people come in the other night, and they said, "We came here because of you." How did you find out about me? Yelp. Cool. They must have not seen that one star review I had.
No, they talk highly of you on Yelp, bro.
Really?
People love you. Yeah.
I haven't even looked.
Check it out.
I don't know if I want to though.
Maybe it's the hair. I don't know.
It could be. It could be.
But no, they love you, man. People talking about Jason, man.
I don't see it. I don't get it, man. But because, like I said, it's different when you're behind this bar, man. To me, it's just like I don't know. It's just like, I mean, not even putting on a show. It's just this is my personality. This is the way I've always been. I start ranting and riffing and doing and rolling and ripping, and all of a sudden I have a whole bar full of people. I have them engaged in what I'm doing, and the drinks are first and foremost. It's like I told someone the other day I hired for the new sushi joint, Saitos, that they just did the article about. One of the waitresses over there, I hired her in and wanted to get her a job here, and she was like, she didn't have any serving experience. I was like, well, I'll take her over the new spot. And they're like, are you serious? I said, yeah, I can teach her to serve. I can't teach personality, just good, just conversing and stuff like that. And the guy goes, he goes, so, what makes you so special? I said, I'm not special, but I'm Googleable. It just came out. And by God, I am Googleable. I was just joking. It was a joke. And then one of the other bartenders was like, man, you are Googleable. First page, scroll down a little. He goes, I said,
Google Jason Furr, all stuff comes up.
It's ridiculous. Really?
I was a lot of shit comes up, man. I don't think I'm that Googleable. Maybe Stickman is starting to be a little Googleable now. Is that a word? Shit, I can't even say that right. But you are definitely Googleable. Blah, blah, blah.
Dude, I tell you, man, I started drinking from, hey, man, take a picture of that. It's Instagrammable. Dude, I make drinks your girlfriend remembers. I say that one all the time, too.
Okay, so that's like, so when you come to the Red Phone Booth or just anywhere you at, you're behind doing your thing, you got little sayings that you drop on
I do. I mean, I do a lot of wordplay. I do a lot of wordplay where people will say something and I'll riff on what they just said. And it just kind of comes off the cuff. It's not the it's just too quick-witted. Sometimes it's too quick-witted for your own good.
Okay, all right.
But I don't let people slide. I won't.
So you gonna throw some zingers their way too?
Oh, dude, it happens all the time. I call people on their BS all the time.
You might get a lot of shit talking.
I got it, dude. Tell you,
bragging and shit about what they do.
What they do. Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah, tag me on Instagram, bud. A guy came here who was talking about Scotch. I love Macallan Scotch. Macallan Scotch is good. And the guy said, tell me, I don't know much. He was setting me up. So tell me a little bit about bourbon, because I don't know as much about bourbon. I know a lot about Scotch. Right. Oh, yeah. This is. I'm talking about grapefruit, man.
Shit, you know what they're doing.
I know what he's doing, man. He's playing. Hey, man. He thinks he's playing baseball. We're still playing wiffle ball, man. But the thing is that he goes, I really like Macallan Scotch. I said, well, okay. Well, here's about bourbon and the difference between bourbon and Scotch. Bourbon's always used a fresh barrel, first and foremost. Every bourbon that's made, that barrel gets sent away to make other. And I said this. I said, well, first of all, the fresh barrels are used to make really good booze in the bourbon, and then it's sent away to make trashy booze like Scotch. And I was just joking. And the guy goes, well, not Macallan's. I said, well, what about Macallan's? He goes, well, Macallan's uses new barrels too. All right. Well, tell me about their barrels. Well, they store sherry in their barrels for 3 years before they use it to make Scotch. I said, well, it sounds like a used barrel.
That's a used barrel.
That's a used barrel. And he just kind of looked at me like he was like I could see the wheel turning, but the hamster was dead.
Why y'all trying to test this, man?
I was like, it's like what you just described to me. What you just described to me was a used barrel. I don't think and I just straight up I said, I don't think your testimony is going to hold up in court. I mean, it's just, it's funny to me because everybody comes in here and takes booze seriously, man. I mean, yes, I know this. The reason why I know about bourbon and stuff is because I was passionate about it. It was my drink of choice. It's my heritage. It's my culture growing up in Kentucky. We won't talk about the other cultures.
Is Kentucky the best bourbon?
In my opinion, all the bourbons I really like are from Kentucky. But there are other whiskeys that are not from Kentucky that are good too. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
There's stuff that comes from Indiana, from the big manufacturers. That's good.
Okay. You don't think of Indiana when you think of bourbon?
No, you don't. But a lot of it's made there. My problem is with the bourbon industry, don't try to fool the consumer. Once you try to put together a story, a backstory, say, this is what our bourbon is, and you do what we call label slapping. That's where you buy your bourbon from somewhere else, you source it, and you put it in a bottle, and you slap your label on it, and you say, oh, this bourbon's, the recipe is 100 years old, and this and that. Don't try to fool the consumer. You know?
Yeah.
I got a lot
Be straight up. Be authentic with it.
Be authentic with it.
And if your stuff is good, it's good. It shouldn't matter where it's from.
It shouldn't matter where it's from.
Yeah.
What's the gimmick? I don't buy gimmicky bourbons.
And there's a lot of that out there.
There's a lot of that out there. So my buddy and I, I'm just gonna throw this out here.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna throw this out here.
Okay, put it out.
So I said, if I ever started my own bourbon,
which I think you should. But
that's okay. All right.
I think you should.
So what I want to do is I want to call it, and I'm gonna go ahead and give. Brent Cottle and I had been riding in the car, man. You're riding in your car. You're just riffing and stuff like that, and you're just talking to each other, or drinking or having a drink. So we came up with this concept about a bourbon company. And Brent Cottle, this guy I went to high school with. He's my little brother's best friend. And we said, we're going to come up with the idea of Kung Fu Bourbon. Okay, Kung Fu Bourbon. It's a bourbon where all the master distillers are Shaolin monks. And we teach the bourbon Kung Fu.
Okay.
So we teach the bourbon. It takes about 11 years to teach bourbon Kung Fu to get it right. We roll the barrels 51 times because 50 is not enough, and 52 is too many. Right?
Okay.
And it'd be a bottle. It'd be a bottle, and it'd be like maybe a taller bottle, and it would have the painting of a Jai Fook or a Guy or something like that with a black belt on it. Everybody has a goddamn award winner. Everybody's putting a fucking gold medal on their fucking booze. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is that I haven't had your bourbon, but I know where you get it from. So I have a pretty good idea what it tastes like. Like I said, there's only 14 major distilleries. Everybody's putting out the same product. It's like this. If you have a bourbon company and you have, a 90 proof bourbon, and it's not, I always base it, if it's not as good as Maker's Mark, or Woodford Reserve, or Heaven Hill 6-year, which is a $12 bottle, I don't want anything to do with your bourbon, especially if it's over $40. I try not to pour it. I wouldn't pay for it.
Y'all hear that? Say that again.
I really don't
say that again.
I really don't want that in there.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Okay. But I'll go through it though. But I'll say it again. I mean, but I just didn't want to talk about legends.
We don't. Yeah, we'll lay that out.
Because legend, I like the people that work there. But you can't tell me you have an award-winning bourbon because you went to Slapdick County Fair and you got an award. They gave you a gold medal. Fine. You know.
A lot of people say that.
A lot of people say it. Yeah. Everybody has medals posted out of their goddamn bottle, man. I don't give a fuck. If I don't dig it, it's probably not. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta be. Yeah. If I don't dig it, I mean, if I taste it, I'm like, God, man, that tastes really young. Don't tell me it's. You know. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Fooling the consumer.
That makes sense because I had a conversation with someone the other day about cigars, and I'm not going to mention his name, but owns a big cigar brand, very knowledgeable guy. And he and I were talking, and he was just like, dude, I'm so tired of all these little boutique cigars popping up everywhere. And I'm like, why is that? He goes, well, they're not all of them are authentic. They just got somebody else's cigar and slapped the label on it and just went with it, right? And I'm like, and part of me is, I have mixed emotions on it because part of me is, well, part of that's business, right? That's just how people have done business for years. They take another product, slap a new label on it. But then we know in this lifestyle, there's something more real about it that hits a nerve with a lot of us, right? That makes it like you lose some authenticity in some people's eyes. Right. I have mixed emotions. How do you feel that way about some of the craft whiskeys that pop up, or
some and some not? When it comes to master distillers and stuff like that, man, there's guys out there that know what they're doing.
They know their shit, yeah.
They do. They went to school for it. But you got people who are popping up with I mean, come on, man. Everybody and their mom's starting a bourbon company, or in fact, when's your mom's bourbon company coming out?
I know, right?
She has one coming
Next
out
month, right?
Next month,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
My mom might be working on it.
She might be.
I can't wait to taste it.
That's right, man. It's gonna be solid, man. It'll be solid bourbon right there, man. It's like, man, it's just like I said, man.
Okay.
Kung Fu bourbon, man. Look for it next year.
Kung Fu bourbon. I love it. It's been rolled 51 times.
Yeah, not 50.
Because 50 is not enough. And 52 is too much.
Way too many.
Remember that, man. Roll the bourbon the right number of times.
Everybody talks, it's like, I won't say that one company puts their bourbon on a boat and floats it down the river or whatever. It's like, well, it's a motion of the ocean. Most companies roll their barrels because they got to move it from top of the rick house to the middle.
That's right.
They do all this. Everybody rolls their barrels.
Yeah, everybody rolls
act like, man. Yeah. So those angels are too drunk on that one. Let's give them some more. Yeah. But no, it's like, that's just the gimmick, man. I mean, I don't do gimmicks, man. I don't do gimmicks. I don't care about your story.
Yeah.
If you don't have good booze, you don't have good booze.
Thank you.
I mean,
I got a question. When it comes to whiskey in general, intoxicology, or just making a decision, you hear these guys talk, and I've watched different television shows and documentaries, and is it a science or is it an art? Because some of these guys, when you hear them talk, man, it's a true art form. It's like that shit cannot be replicated the way they talk about it. Like nobody else can do what they do. What do you think about that?
When I put the cocktail menu together for Saito's, which is the new sushi.
Check out the new sushi place, Saito's. It's right upstairs, right?
Right upstairs.
Downtown Atlanta, folks. Come check it out. And it opens when again?
Yeah, we're gonna do the grand opening next week. I've been doing soft opens all week.
Oh, so Saito, by the time this airs, it'll be open, so that's perfect.
Absolutely. You check out some of the creations I made in there.
Okay, but so science or art?
Okay, so I don't really buy into. It's more. I would say it's kind of more science, more cooking and baking type deal. I think it's a really, 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 really nice compliment when someone says, "I can't drink this. This is art." So Saito's, I concentrated on making all the drinks like art. So pretty you don't want to drink it.
Just want to look at it.
Just want to look at it.
Admire it. Take pictures.
It's the same way as the food. We wanted the food to look like art. We want the drinks to look like art. Very Instagrammable. Right.
Yes,
see, there we go.
Yes, sir.
So when we did that, we wanted to make sure that they looked really pretty, really nice. Like I said, for Saito's, I try to make drinks your girlfriend remembers. Pretty much. However, when people come to me and say, it's art, that's a really nice compliment. But my art turns to pee in a couple hours. I mean, all my hard work, and that is the ultimate Banksy, making your $3 million painting shred.
Art turns to pee.
It does.
Within 2 hours.
Within a couple hours.
That's about right. You're only borrowing liquor for a little while.
You don't do that.
There you go. So at the end of the day, what you're basically saying is don't get
wrapped up.
Don't get
wrapped up in his art, man. You just drink the booze. We'll make it.
People take themselves too seriously sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Man, it's just the bartender scene. Like here at the Red Phone booth and at Saito's, I wanted to hire people that were fun to work with, who wanted to. Oh yeah, I don't do any hiring here. I wanted people working with me at Saito's. These guys I work with here, every one of them, man, they generally give a shit about what they're doing. And you got to have that. I had a gentleman in last night at Saito's. He goes, "What would it take to replicate this somewhere else?" I said, people who give a damn about what they're doing. Because if they don't care, then you're just getting another drink at another steakhouse. You're getting another drink at somewhere else. No one's going to really give up. I mean, it'll be nice. It'll be nice for the time you're there. And then it'll be over.
And it's over.
But if you make that one drink that one person likes, and they want to come back for your drink, can you do it at the same time over and over and over and over and over and over again? The old fashioned is my drink. I do a lot of old fashions. Like I've done it my own way forever. I've done it my own way ever since I worked at Hilton. And I take a lot of pride into it. I blend my own bitters, make my own simple syrups. I do all that jazz. I make it in front of you. I try to craft it in front of you. Mm-hmm. And then when you have that one and you order another one, I want it the same way every time.
That's right.
Same way every
match
time.
That shit for
Same
me.
way the other time.
I want consistency.
When I go to, I was gonna say, when I took a friend out for lunch one day, and I said, "What do y'all do here?" The lady goes, "I make old fashions. Our old fashions the best in the city." I'm like, "They don't? Okay, cool. I'll have one." I looked at the bartender as he's making. First thing he did, he grabbed the bottle and just started pouring booze into it. I said, as soon as it came over, I didn't even drink it. I said, "No, I'll just have. I don't even want to put my lips on."
Wow. You just watched him make it.
I watched him make it. No, because you cannot. If you want to craft a perfect cocktail, you have to measure that stuff out.
That's
because it's all about balance. It's all. If you never see a baker just say, "F it, we're just going to throw this much flour in there." You don't see a baker doing it. Hey, because if you have flour and you have too much baking soda or too little baking powder, you don't get the right leavening. You don't have all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, same way with cocktails. People, when people come in here and say, "Oh man, you're the best at this, you're the best at that," I don't consider that. I just consider myself. I've come up with recipes that work. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they work is because you follow the recipes. Mm-hmm. My recipes or whoever's recipes. If you open a book if you get 10 different cocktail books mm-hmm. and you open them up, you'll probably find 10 different recipes for an old fashioned.
Mm. So that's where the art comes in at. Maybe the recipe is art because it's based on how creative you are. But the science comes in at, can I replicate that shit and make it well and great every time?
Right. But the illusion would be, can you do that, for one, on a nightly basis for every time someone comes in? So every time someone walks through that door, they get the same old fashioned for me every time. Now, how long did it take me to perfect that? And to pull it off and pull it out and to do it, I mean, it took me years. Trial and error, getting the right blend of bitters that I wanted for that old fashioned or whatnot. Mm-hmm. There are other drinks out there. I mean, but the fact is that it's like I was saying about the 10 different cocktail books. I have people come to me, "Hey, did you read that one cocktail book from that famous bar in New York?" No, I don't care about that bar.
Tell them that they read my shit.
Well, no, that's not the point. The point is that I don't care what any other bar is doing. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that bar. Mm-hmm. I don't want to steal their stuff and put it behind my bar. Mm-hmm. I don't want to steal their stuff. I mean, like, "Hey man, did you hear what that bar's doing?" No, what are they doing? Oh yeah, I don't.
Well, your bar has its personality. Let them have theirs, right? Style, personality, the way of doing things.
I think my favorite part about it is you don't. Every bartender is different. I've gone to all these bars all over the city, and I've had drinks all over the city, and I've had some really good ones. I've had some really horrific ones. Sometimes I'll try their cocktails just to see, but I'm not judging these people. I don't want to judge them. But if you made a good cocktail, man, I'll let you know you made a good cocktail. Mm-hmm. And I don't come up and say, "Well, I'm Jason from the red phone booth. Mm-hmm. You made that cocktail totally wrong." No, I don't do that because I don't care how they're making their cocktails. Mm-hmm. I don't even watch them make it. That just happened that one time I was sitting by the bar and I watched the guy make it.
Couldn't help but look at it.
Couldn't help but look at it, man. It's like a train wreck. Mm-hmm. There's just, and it, you know what, man? And you know what? Here's the effed up thing about it, though. That's someone's favorite drink. Mm-hmm. That comes to that bar every day.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Everyone's palates and taste buds are a little bit different.
Yep. And who am I to say that that's wrong or right? That's the way you do it, man. Mm-hmm. But the way I do it is very specific. The way I do it, and the reason why I do it is because if I don't have some sort of, I'm taking out the chaos. Mm-hmm. If I don't do it the same way every time, all of a sudden it's chaos. Mm-hmm. It's not consistent. If it's not consistent, I guess. Like I said, if people like me on Yelp, man, there's a reason why they like me on Yelp.
They love you on
Yelp. I have
Yelp.
not seen them.
Hey, brother, this has been awesome. What would you like to leave people with? You say, being an intoxicologist, If they were to come down and kick it at the Red Phone booth with you, or Citos in the next week or so.
I tell you, if you come down and see me, I guarantee you're going to have a blast. You're going to have a blast just hanging out, bull, just shooting the bull, chewing the fat, even if you don't get a cocktail. The couple things I want to leave with. One, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a great bottle of bourbon.
Amen.
You don't have to.
Amen.
There are bottles out there that are $12, $13, $14 a bottle, and they're fantastic. So all got to follow the same rules to be bourbon. Find out what you like. And when you find something that you like, don't tell anybody. Don't let anybody tell you what you like. You don't know what you like. I know what you like.
You need to try this
right here.
You
need to try this right here. All right,
no, fuck that. Yeah.
You can, but don't let them charge you for it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't like it,
drink what you like. This goes back to one of the very first sayings when I started the Stickman podcast. Smoke what you like, drink what you like. Simple as that.
I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
You've had this bourbon now. I mean,
it's almost gone. I love it, by the way.
It's fantastic. To me, it's fantastic. And, but to me, it's like, tell me what, you're new to bourbon. Tell me about your experience here with this bourbon and what we've been doing here. Tell me, you've kind of been getting a little more drinking than I feel like I've been talking more than I should be.
No, you're the show, baby.
I don't know. No.
So, good question. One of the things I will say is that, and I'm going to throw kudos to you, is that you taught me how to nose it properly. And then you actually got me warmed up for it. So you actually told me, take a little bit of taste, coat my tongue, swish around in your mouth. It's almost like preparing the mouth a little bit.
We tinted your palate.
You tinted my palate. See, I never tinted my palate before. And then I took a little swig of water. And then you said, okay, now take a real drink. Yeah. And it totally changed everything.
And we did that.
Tinting the palate is something I've never done before. I'm going to do that going forward with all
I will let you know. If you do that, when you drink something neat, and when you tell me you drank something neat, I wanted to do that. We did that about 10 to 15 minutes before we even started.
Yep, that's right.
And I poured these out about the same time. But I knew if we got your palate prepared, do this whole
tinting process.
Yeah, when we're just sitting here conversing and having drinks and stuff like that, one, I wouldn't burn your palate up. You get that.
Yeah.
And two, I thought you'd have a much more enjoyable experience with something that's, like I said, a little hotter than what you'd be used to drinking.
I'm used to it now. I'm used to it
But
now.
if you do this, I do that every night. Every night that I have a drink, of bourbon, there's a process I go through, and that's one of them. I will get it neat. I'll let it sit for 3 or 4 minutes. I will nose it. And when I nose it, when I start smelling something sweet, I know it's ready to drink.
And then it's ready.
Yeah, just let it ready. Then I take a little sip of water. I put just enough of this on my tongue to coat my mouth. Let it burn a little bit. Breathe in a little bit. Like I said, if you had a peppermint in your mouth.
That's right.
Take a sip of water. Hit back with a big boy sip of bourbon. And you have to do that once. And then the rest of the evening, you don't have to do it again.
Jason Furr, y'all. Red Phone Booth. Stickman #1. I'm here. He's here. Come down, check him out. Citos open up in about a week. By the time this airs, you will see it. You're the man, dude. We got to do this again because I got so many more things I want to ask you. We just getting started, You coming back on the Stickman podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So Reggie Kimball, aka Stickman #1. Until next time, puff, sip, chat, repeat. Hit that subscribe button. Comment. Let us know what you think about it. We're out. Peace.
Good.